Okay, remember with Shaft as well, when Shaft came out, What's Going On came in the charts at the same time with Marvin Gaye. So they both were
Ballet,
creating a
yeah, yeah,
stir.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
both were creating a stir. It was a complete sonic revolution.
Wow.
It was completely
What we're fighting for freedom. Yo, we're taking over the musical chart.
yes, yes. Um, think about it. This brother managed to have seven number one albums of his career. Plus a
Seven. Okay, okay,
soundtrack.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
plus a soundtrack and his studio albums.
Affinity Extra, be extra.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and do not necessarily represent the views of Affinity Extra.
You feel like you've been caught in a hurricane.
Yeah, smooth vibe of Rance Allen. We're here on Affinity Extra, celebrating gospel music of black origin. Also, we're here to celebrate blackness. Yeah, it's possible to do that as a Christians. Definitely is possible to do that anyway. So yeah, and Kevin is ready to go still because we are doing a three-part. I would say that Kevin is definitely on this because obviously his book Icon of Memphis. It's 100% there, and definitely got knowledge there. You get the likes of Isaac Hayes. We're going to be going into this week because we've just been bumping into absolute gems. Knowing that the an artist from the north of the states had to come back to go to the south and be part of Stax, which is Rance Allen, and actually hit the charts, the R&B charts with music from Stax. That is just incredible, you know. And it shows that, you know what, when we get gassed because we get number 55 or 100 in some second charts, thinking something like that is new to gospel. It's nothing new to gospel. We've been chart topping for absolute decades, and that's not Christian music. That's black gospel. You know what I'm saying? So we've been on top of the charts, and we supported so many great music chart things out there. And I was saying to a friend of mine, I think one of the biggest things in the UK is that we haven't got our own black Christian label that's been owned by us. People says, oh, that's impossible, we ain't got the money. That's the mentality that if you don't want to get nowhere, you know what I'm saying, you will have. And I believe we've got the money, the resources to do it 100%. It's just that we never done anything together. As simple as so it's the importance of this moving on. It's on. Bro Kevin, I'm gonna see if we got you here. You there, my brother?
Yes. Can you hear me, bro?
I can hear you. Let me just turn down some of the tune now. So yeah, let me turn down.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. This is interesting.
Go
I
on.
will be reading from my book because I've written about the things that several of the things we're going to talk about. This legendary music icon, this prolific composer, considering that the brother had 7 number one R&B albums, you know.
But bro, I thought Isaac Hayes was just a deep voice, like the prelude before Barry White. You know what I mean?
No.
It's a bit more than that.
Before Barry White came on the scene, became visible in other words. Isaac Hayes has been doing behind the scene work with the Otis Reddings of the world, Otis and all the other people at Stax. He took over as keyboardist and organist when Booker T went away to go to university to study the theory of music. Because remember, Booker T was the only one at Stax that understand how to do charting and arrangement according to the book. You know. Remember, Isaac Hayes was self-taught. He learned to play the saxophone, the keyboard, the piano, the organ. Did you hear me? He taught himself.
That's what I'm talking about, people. That's what I'm talking about. Talent.
And remember, he was introduced by 2 people to the Stax record. Floyd, I think his name is Floyd, and the other person was David Porter. Both of them were introduce him to, of course, James Stewart, who, of course, Stewart was the owner, the co-owner at the time of Stax Record, before it went black-owned under the leadership of Al Bell.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
Yes. This is where it gets very interesting. After his production run with David Porter, Isaac Hayes became a recording artist out of accident.
Accident.
He wasn't really planning to be one. He did an album, very jazz laid with some of the session men at Stax. And then the following year, Al Bell said that I'm going to give you the freedom to create an album, because that very year they were Stax, after a sour end with Atlantic, discovering that Atlantic controlled the masters instead of them.
Wow.
Yeah, that's another key thing. When you're signing papers, you need to know what you're signing.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a painful lesson for Stax. And so Stax stopped the distribution relationship with Atlantic Record.
Wow.
From what they discovered, that painful discovery. And so, I mean, I could go into detail with it, but what's the point? So what happened, Al Bell went on a campaign to actually release X amount of albums, and hoping that one of those albums will hit the charts and generate money for the label, Critical.
Yeah, all
Because
day. Yeah.
by the end, one thing that was interesting, by the end of the 60s, it was obvious that black artists were capable of doing album runs,
Okay.
Because remember, earlier in the 60s, you had the gold album with James Brown, live gold album.
Okay.
So they realized that it's possible that the black artists can. Well, there were other gold albums before that, with Ari Belafonte and Nat King Cole. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about going into a greater level of production.
Yeah.
So
Full on black.
when Hot Butter Soul came on the scene, 4 tracks on the album, brother. 4 tracks. Listen to this one. Spoken introduction on an 18-minute version of By the Time I Get to Phoenix. An almost symphonic use of large string-dominated orchestration or orchestra on this album that stand out. The album introduced Isaac Hayes' baritone and orchestral sound or orchestral soul style innovation.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. I'm doing
18 minutes, bro. 18 minutes of talking. And while the version By the Time I Get to Phoenix. 4 tracks, and it became absolutely revolutionary.
What's the album called? What's that called?
The album?
Yeah.
The album is Hot Butter Soul. Hot Butter Soul.
Okay. Oh, got it.
That's the album. Hey, that's the album that brought him national renown or prominence.
So 1 second. So you're saying to me, bro, there's 4 tracks on the album.
4 tracks. Oh, listen very carefully. That was
Side
revolution
one.
in itself.
That's revolution right now, guys. I'm looking at 18 minute by the time I get to Phoenix. Oh
right.
my goodness sake, bro.
Okay, listen to this very carefully. According to Stax Museum, the album eventually sold 3 million copies. It was number 1 on the R&B charts, the contemporary R&B charts, the jazz charts, and other listing. Number 1.
I gotta listen to this. I gotta be. I'm intrigued, man. I'm intrigued because I'm like, yo,
brother. It was number 1 for 10
trouble.
weeks. It was number 1 for 10 weeks in R&B and soul album charts. 10 weeks.
I'm just looking at these guys. Yeah, I'm just looking at the details because as again, guys, this is a public study we're doing. Yeah. I'm looking at this. You've got, you know, the Willie Hall drums.
Willie Hall is the key brother on that drums.
Is it? Yeah, because you've mentioned him a few times.
Willie Hall. Willie Hall is definitely one of Memphis key drummers in the Memphis musical fraternity. In terms of musician, he's one of the surviving ones that's still alive. You know? And Charles Pitts is the guy who does the fusion, you know, the fusion and all that stuff. And then he's the same one who did that riff on Shaft. Let's not jump on Shaft yet. Just hold on tight.
No, 100%.
Hold on tight, bro.
Yeah, because Willie Hall is still about. He's a 71-year-old. He lived born in Memphis, Tennessee. Willie Hall. You've got on bass James Alexander.
Yes,
he seems like
he's a master.
He looks
he's a master. And remember, he had the guys from the Barcades as part of his rhythm section, the new Barcades. They themselves were very interesting because they had great success as a band in their own right.
Okay. So Barcades, the Barcades, that's it. Yeah. So guys, I'm like, Barcades, the Barcades. So the Barcades from Memphis, Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah. And also, don't forget as well, the Memphis Symphony Orchestra and its members on the album. Memphis Symphony Orchestra. Yes.
So, I'm looking at the Barcades. So Barcades is basically an American funk band. Yeah, that's the, you know, I mean, obviously they got new people still functioning in it, and they got the old folk from back in the 60s. Wow, this is absolutely epic. It shows you that you can have a band and you can session for people, because I think sometimes we always see a lead singer in front of people in the bands, and let's be real, bands just get rejected by artists as soon as they get to another stage. But it looks like these bands have understood that, okay, cool, you may get rid of us, but at the same time we're going to retain our identity and play session work for other people as well. So great stuff.
You see what people need to understand, very top-end musicians, very top-end musicians don't really go unemployed because they're top-end. That means they are craftsmen, musical craftsmen in their own right. So they're not subject to, if they're extremely good, they can actually go with the waves and the sounds and always shine, because to get the live sound, people know that they need to come to them. A computer cannot get that live sound, that authentic quality that these musicians can produce. When you think about it, the Johnny Allen was the brother who was a string arranger and horn arranger on staff at Motown. He was the one that impacted both Hot Butter Soul, Shaft on the other albums.
Okay, cool.
So he was classically trained, and part of the album as well, let's just not forget, part of the album was done at the United Sound Studio, which still exists today in Detroit.
So you know who because I got this guy called Al Bell, involved in the project. And you got Alan Jones, Johnny Allen. Yeah, that's really key injury. I'm just looking at the guys who are involved with this project. Terry Manning, you know what I mean? Guys like this are just involved with this project, and it's amazing how like they just. You can imagine they just. It's like basically it's like. Shaft. I say Shaft. You know. Sorry, Isaac Hayes. It seems like he just became almost like a soulful composer. You know what I mean? In a period, okay, I'm gonna be something different. I might not be singing love songs, but I'm gonna be just doing some soulful composing, bro. You know what I mean? And it's just like I still need to listen to that 18-minute song, bro, because I love them epics.
Okay, if we want to jump the gun a bit, remember his influenced Superfly, Ed Hunters. Ed Hunters was the Herbie Young album that had 4 tracks on it, and it was a platinum seller. A concept jazz album, 1973, that became a platinum certified album under the Columbia Jazz Division.
Okay.
That jazz division was under the supervision of the vice president of the jazz division, Dr. George Butler. It was a serious recording executive responsible for the innovation on the jazz division of Columbia.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yes, which Ramsey Lewis came out of with Goddess, and so forth. Right. And at the same time, Superfly had actually come on the scene prior to Edanta, and all of them were basically and What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. These were all concept albums based on the introduction that Isaac Hayes did. Isaac Hayes showed black artists and the industry that African American artists can do big album sales.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, especially concept album. Remember, Motown was beginning to do that, but Isaac Hayes was the first artist outside of the Motown establishment to actually have a monster hitting album that hit all 3 album listing or several album listing.
Okay, cool. See, so when we're looking at Motown, what area is Motown? Just for people out there.
Motown is Detroit, actually.
Detroit. Okay, cool. Detroit.
Just
So,
further north of Memphis, further north. You know.
so as much as they have the
In
great
Detroit,
success,
in the state of Detroit. No, this Detroit is the capital, but is in the state of Michigan, which is very
Okay.
close by to Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
They're separated by the river. So if you look around there and going down to Memphis, there was some serious music coming out of these various different cities.
That's like a Midwest. Is it Midwest they call it?
Yeah, probably Midwest. No, yes, sort of. Yes.
Yeah.
So, geographically speaking.
Yeah, it's like the
Now-
it's like the middle of it's like the middle states, and it's like the almost like they call it the Great Valley, on the way to the West Coast. But it's like what you mentioned there now. I think it really puts a challenge to creatives now. Still,
Well,
it's been
actually,
proven.
do you know this is very interesting? The new creative kids on the block are not selling
like
in
what
the
I used
same
to-
volume
Yeah.
as before. Compared, I mean, like Adele only sold about 3 million copies with her recent album, right? But what has actually happened? The music market is making more money off old catalog, like
Right. Yeah.
Bob Marley's Legend album, Michael Jackson's Thriller, which is constantly selling. It notched up another few millions copies.
Jeez.
So what has happened? People are actually gravitating to the older catalog because the older catalogs were masterpiece. And what do you say about Songs in the Key of Life? All this was during the 1970s, bro.
Yeah.
These were all benchmark, just like Hot Butter Soul. They were benchmark albums. Notice the word benchmark, sonic masterpiece.
Yeah.
That actually was the template for what. Can you imagine
Go on.
when you the first time that everything that is unusual in the music industry, it comes from a black creative.
Bro, we are saying the same thing.
We are the
yesterday.
leaders.
Bro,
And as much as-
we're the innovators, but we don't make we kind of innovate something and somebody else makes money from it. And
Yes.
that's our biggest
Yes.
problem. We
Yes.
are the trendsetters, but we're
Yes.
not the money makers of these things.
Yes.
But the problem you have with that is great setting trends, but there's a particular nationality or not nationality, kind of
I get-
people that just make the
this
money
is it.
off our back
Yeah.
every way they can, and it's just sickening, bro.
This is an interesting thing. Somebody did a commentary on the female football team of France,
Yeah,
which
man.
has
Yeah.
a large portion of black ladies.
Yeah.
Now Britain has
None. Yeah, man.
Now this is interesting. France is interesting to win, so it will give these females French citizenship because they're interested to get them to win. Now Britain will do the opposite. Britain will deny them
Yeah.
that, and then to and willing to lose to prevent having that level of success. Matter of fact, France music industry invested in their hip-hop
Yeah, man.
industry, while Britain didn't.
Yes. Because
Now,
of
see the
French
difference?
rap. Yeah, because French rap is big, man.
French rap is serious,
Yeah,
globally
yeah.
serious.
Yeah, man.
So they decided to actually invest in it, just like America learned from that. Just when America was denying its black creatives during the 40s and the 50s and so on, and when they went to France, and France made them celebrities and took care of them.
Yeah.
So France,
yeah.
France, in a way, if you're extremely talented in sports and other things, they will make sure that they take care of you.
Yeah, because
You can say a lot of things about the French and so on and so on, but the French has more common sense in that front. They said, bro, we need to win. And every time, if you notice, every time the French win the World Cup, they have black brothers in it.
Oh, of course, man. Of course.
But with any time Britain reached the level where they're about to win, it has to have black brothers. They cannot. Look at the Oregon athletic game that occurred. Who was dominant?
The black guy dudes, isn't it?
Yes, both from Nigeria, from America, from the Caribbean,
ran the show.
From. Okay, let's go back to music here.
Mm-hmm.
Americans, on the whole, don't like to lose dollars, bruv. That's one thing I can tell you about the Americans. If they see they're gonna lose dollars over something, let's start make a deal here. Let's do this quick. Let's make the deal. Think about it. The Hot Butter Soul, I can assure you, did not have the level of budget that the Frank
Sinatra had. Yeah, 100%.
Barbara Streisand in terms of budget production. Yet, the sonically, it was at a totally different level. It was a benchmark up on top of benchmark.
I got you.
The album track, say like Walk On By and so on, was so good that when they put it on Dead President's soundtrack, it helped the soundtrack to go gold.
Wow. Bro, it really shows that, we really do hold ourselves back in the UK. Yeah. We really don't see that we bring something to the table. Yeah. Specifically in the Christian music scene. And what I will say is that, we're going to go a bit more into detail about Isaac Hayes, and we're going to touch about Shaft. But we have to look at these guys, they did what they did. Yes, for all the personal gains and what they love music, but at the same time, they're role models and inspirations. Now, I would suggest, still, yeah? Where is our role models? Where is our inspirations in the UK gospel scene that can do this? I believe we have achieved great things at a limp, and we can do greater. We just need to stop cheering and lifting up mediocrity and look at excellence and lifting that up and push our writers, our singers, our production teams to another level. because they do a great thing when they're not in church. So when they do the church music, let's get the best level. That's just me, bro. I'm just like, yeah, when I'm hearing these guys, man, I'm like, yo, man. But let's get into the prelude. We did Superfly, guys. We talked about Superfly. We went into details about a movie that I didn't watch because I was too young, and obviously Kevin was causing trouble watching that. But before Superfly, there was a movie called Shaft. Now, Shaft, there's Shaft 1, there's Shaft 2, and there's Shaft 3.
By the way, Shaft 2000 was a gold album. And it feature the theme Shaft on it, right? So that Isaac did it again.
Yeah, man.
And it was released on a LaFace Records with a black-owned label.
LaFace, yeah.
Yeah, and it was number 3 on the R&B album and soul chart, or HipHop charts as they call it today, right? Number 3. It sold, brother. Listen, this is where it gets interesting. It's the movie soundtrack. The movie soundtrack generated over 107.2 million in the United States.
7.2 million.
Yeah, 107.2 million
units.
At a budget, it cost a budget of 46 million. Oh, but the original movie did 10 million copies, over 10 million copies, with a budget of about a million or so. Both of them,
wow.
The Shaft franchise became highly successful, over the long term.
Oh yeah. No, because I've seen Shaft. Let me have a look. The Shaft movies. Let's have a look at this. It's our guys to get his worship on there. Because I think the movie is alright still, but it's just the iconic Shaft. That wah-wah. Is it wah-wah guitar?
Yes, the with the Charles Pitt doing that wah-wah sound, which became a benchmark for the it was a benchmark, what you call psychedelic funk with some rock. You see, psychedelic funk, which was used a lot as well by Norman Whitfield. So Norman Whitfield, another production dude. Norman Whitfield. If we start talking about Norman Whitfield, boy, that is another benchmark.
Okay,
master. He's another. Whew.
So you got Shaft now. That was in 71. You got Shaft 2000, as you said, bro. There's the 2000 version with Samuel Jackson, and then you got Shaft 2019 as well. I don't know if you've seen that one, bro. Yeah,
no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah. It's the Shaft 20. I've actually watched that one. That's the one I definitely watched. I remember that's the one I watched still. Yeah.
What did you think about that one? I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Yeah, it's more of a comedy, but it's good because you had almost 3 generations of Shaft. So you had the original Shaft, you had Samuel Jackson in it, and then you had the new Shaft. So it's quite it's quite funny like that still. It's a bit comedic, but it's a bit of action. So it's kind of nice from that perspective.
This is before you actually reach the Shaft, really. Isaac Hayes did the Isaac Hayes movement, which was number 1 for 5 weeks, and then afterwards To Be Continued, which was number 1 for a total of about 11 weeks, and by the time it went into the 1971, Shaft came out. So Isaac Hayes would have sometimes like 2 albums in the charts at the same time,
because he's literally producing. Actually. So he's producing every year. Yeah.
And all I can say is that when I look at Isaac Hayes, he probably end up as being the most successful of the Memphis original creators, right up to even recent time. You remember with the chef in South Park, the 2 South Park albums that featured him as well, they went gold and platinum. They went platinum in the UK. They went certified gold, certified silver in the UK, the second one. So, and then he had a number 1 in the UK too. He was the first and only Memphis artist to have a number 1 with chocolate Salty Balls. You remember?
Wow, serious?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, for 1 week, it sold in excess of platinum. It was a platinum seller. That's close to over 500,000 units, 600,000 to 700,000 copies.
Wow.
It was totally run away.
No, that's
almost 1 million copies. Let's go back a bit. His songwriting skills as well and production.
Okay.
Yeah, after he did before the 70s end, he did Don't Let Go, which was a gold record, a gold album on Polydor, because he had signed to Polydor, and after his bankruptcy and everything, he migrated and moved to Atlanta. And then at Atlanta, he was recording out of Master Sound Studios. And then this was the same Master Sound Studios that Curtis Memphis started to use after he migrated from Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And so this is it now. Listen to this. This is amazing guy. He did number one. He did number one big hits for Bird, Donald Byrd, monster hits, which really big stuff in clubs. One of the albums that helped to give him a Grammy Award as a co-writer was Deja Vu, a number one contemporary track. Contemporary number one track with Dion, and the album went platinum as well. The album went 1 million copies. So he was responsible for that song. Co-wrote with a white female lady, Miss Anderson. Also, during that time, a little earlier, around that time, he did a monster hit with Linda Clifford. I'm Yours album on the Curtum label. Remember Curtum, owned by Curtis Mayfield?
Yeah.
And then he did the number one track, so Shoot Your Best Shot, which was number one on the dance track chart or dance disco, number one for 4 weeks, brother.
This guy's controlling the airwaves.
Yes, he's very much a behind the scene brother, and he was a successful actor.
Okay.
Yes. He was he became, should I say, very iconic behind the scene and influenced the Dr. Drake and all these brothers.
So, okay, so this is all before Shaft.
No, these were after Shaft.
After Shaft. Okay, cool, yeah.
Because Shaft was what you call a sonic masterpiece and a benchmark. Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah.
And then, regardless, because he's Shaft. Remember, Shaft was pop number 4, in the UK.
Yeah.
On the official charts. So it became a silver certified single and sold nearly 250,000 copies.
Okay.
Yeah,
man.
So it was big in the UK. It was huge globally.
Wow. Shaft the movie.
And the whole that track, it was everywhere.
Wow.
You could hear it. And when I was in Jamaica, I used to hear it. It was revolutionary. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all he did. I'll know just from the the intro, man.
Exactly. When you think about it, that was the
I'm gonna try and find it. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, that was the track that set the pace for what's going to happen further on in the decade with the songs in the key of life and so forth and so on. Yes?
Yeah. Okay, Shaft remastered.
Okay, remember with Shaft as well, when Shaft came out, What's Going On came on the charts at the same time with Marvin Gaye. So they both were creating a stir.
Yeah.
They both were creating a stir. It was a complete sonic revolution.
Wow. We're fighting for freedom. Yo, we're taking over the musical chart.
Yes, yes. Think about it. This brother managed to have 7 #1 albums of his career.
7. Okay. Yeah.
Plus the soundtrack and his studio albums.
Nah, and you know what, guys? I was thinking, how's this guy take it from top and then just do an album and then just take over, man? I see his performances and you have no top on with some big metal belt over his shoulder, and you're just thinking, what's going on here?
Well, the think about it, is one of the creative force behind Southern Soul. He was one of the creative force because he just created it's completely revolutionary in terms of what the possibilities that blacks could actually do during. I mean, when you think about Shaft, look at this. Listen to the facts about Shaft.
Go on.
The theme from Shaft, written and produced by Isaac Hayes, went #1 week ending November the 20th.
Yeah.
November the 20th, 1971, for 2 weeks on the Billboard Hot Singles chart.
Okay.
Right? And also, it was released 5 weeks before it reached that number. 5 weeks.
Wow.
So it went up the charts rapidly. When it came out, it just went up the charts.
Jeez.
Within 5 weeks. Released on the 16th of October, and within 5 weeks, it was #1.
What do you think drove it? Was it the movie or the music?
It was the music as well, because there was nothing out there like that. Not like that. Not with the orchestration. Boom. You know, you're building up. It's like
it's crazy, bro. It's like you're 2 minutes in, no vocals. Yeah.
Listen to the percussion and drums.
It's like and it's the whole flex, man. You learn in church, man. Like, get. Yo, you're 2 minutes in.
The whole thing was
crazy.
It was funk. It was a funk revolution with a sonic flavor and a powerful drums with the rhythm guitar letting loose.
It's great to see composers at this time were trailblazers, were leaders in cinematic. I think sometimes, and I'm saying to my youngsters there, why do we always think the music industry is one dimensional? Let me get into the black charts in the UK. Why can't we do computer music? Why can't we do theme TV music? We just don't think outside the box. Let's do pieces of music which is not just for radio, which is 3 minutes long or 2 minutes long. Let's make pieces that are 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes, 20-minute pieces that are perfect for movies, but also Sounds of Blackness blew up because they made dance remixes that are 14 minutes long that DJs love, and they blew up the dance charts. Sounds of Blackness did. So for me, it's a case of think outside the box, people.
Okay, listen to this. Shaft album was #1 for 1 week on the 6th of November. 1971 for 1 week. When it went on the soul and R&B charts, it was #1 in the soul and R&B charts for 14 weeks.
Jeez.
And it was #1 on the jazz charts too. So it was just like his Hot Butter Soul album and several. Matter of fact, Isaac Hayes is one of the few artists, in written history to have his each of his studio albums and so on at #1 on several different listings.
Yeah.
He was revolutionary.
Wow.
And I mean, how do we describe this gentleman? Was he a trailblazer? Was he a true transcendent innovator? Was he original? Was he a copycat? Or he started things from the beginning? He certainly wasn't copycat. He was a true innovator. He was original in his creative thinking, and he created concept albums. He was a concept, Isaac Hayes' movement. His brother is to be continued.
No.
You look at the titles, to be continued.
Bro, I'm scratching my head, man. Now, definitely, this is absolutely crazy, guys. Man, I think that, like you said, innovative, and it really drives me to be innovative in my creativity, be peculiar, be not ashamed to be the only one in that lane. Isaac Hayes is coming at a time where black people were just about letting loose. At the time, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, brother, in the late 60s, was that the time where Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was killed?
Yes, it's around about those periods. It was the Black Pride, period. It was when James Brown was on top of the game with his radio station, and one of the few recording artists to have a private jet that he used for his tour. So there was a lot of things going on at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, by then, Quincy Jones was doing movies like Ironside and the Pawnbroker during that time. So there was a constant innovation going on amongst our brothers. And not only to mention that, you need to remember that by the time the end of the 60s, you had Curtom Records, owned by Curtis Mayfield, co-owned by Curtis Mayfield, and Curtis Mayfield had two publishing houses as well. You had the Motown label, label actually going on. Yes. Yes. So Motown was creating a stir because remember, by 1967, the music industry had hit the $1 billion mark. 1967, this the year that Aretha Franklin exploded on the scene with 3.5 million copies in albums and singles.
And just to clarify my point, bro, you're saying about the black positive movement in that period there in the 60s, and I think Malcolm X died in 65. He was murdered, and also Martin Luther King, more tragically, in 68. And I think people have to realize that it wasn't that case that after they died, life was brilliant for black people. There was a fight. There's a fight ahead, but that was a time where black people says we're not going to be no slaves anymore. Yeah, and this movement was that powerful that, if you can think about it, the civil rights movement in America in the 60s was a bit like the civil war for Haiti. That's kind of sparked a lot of the civil wars throughout the whole slave states, slave islands in the Caribbean. And what you have to realize is that a lot of the independence, the so-called independence, I'll call them so-called the independence, that the African nations and the Caribbean nations were inspired by what was going on in the 60s in America. And that's the reality. It wasn't by chance that these things happened at the same time. So you got these guys.
You got to remember as well, to remember one of the trailblazers way before Martin Luther King was Marcus Garvey.
Marcus, come on now, Jamaican.
Okay. Let's just get this straight, bro.
Bring out the Jamaican,
Let's get this straight. This is when you listen to him speak and his intellect, he was Marcus Garvey was an absolute threat to anything colonial, or what we call the status quo of the day. He was what you call the spark that inspired the Malcolm X.
100%, bro. He went to America from Jamaica. He went to America and then basically stood up strong, and he was dropping some things and dropping some bars. But even them and them said, "Yo, Benjamin, you better go back to Jamaica. Send him back to Jamaica, man." And I think that seeing this music, Kevin, coming out this period, seeing the innovation of these guys, the unapologeticness of the blackness. for Isaac Hayes to take off his top, show off his dark skin, his black dark skin on stage, and think, I don't feel no way, ladies will like this. It really brought, hold a second, we're meant to be hiding our bodies. These are meant to be covering stripes and marks. We're meant to be, these guys walked around being positive, started businesses that were attracted investment because they said, oh, you want my talent? Pay for it. Yeah, I know my value. Yeah, yes. and our value started rising because before this period now, correct me if I'm wrong, you know, you're looking at music, jazz musicians having people painting their faces black and playing our music. That's what was happening in literally white bands, and that's the Mickey take. They would take our music and the Elvis and this Billy. Much as I think sometimes we're just too nice to the imitators like the Elvis Presleys of the world and the UB40s who are white people that love our music
and Simple Red and so forth.
You know what I'm saying? Simple Red. You know, these guys, they love our music, sing it and make loads of money from it. And actually think, oh, they give black people like a few pennies. Oh, they got a few BVs that are black. They bless them. Listen, guys, that the majority, every pound, majority is not coming in back in our community for a style of music that was innovated and created by us. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, you know, there comes a times where we're going to say as it is. So for me to see the likes of Isaac Hayes, set up a label, use the space when the studio was quiet.
He set up his own label too. He set up his label and
bought a basketball club.
Chocolate Chips became a gold record, a gold record for him, and was number one for 2 weeks in 1975.
This is what I'm saying to you. Absolutely 70s monster.
Think about it. Isaac Hayes having a label, Curtis Mayfield having a label, Gambling Off having a label. Norman Whitfield having a label with Whitfield Records that had Car Wash with Rolls Royce. There were so many black brothers and sisters. There's another interesting black sister that we need to talk about. Or Platinum.
That's gonna be next. That's gonna be next episode, bro. Because we ran out of time already. But go mention the sister. Who is the sister?
She's a darling.
What's her name?
Well, okay, let me make sure I get it right so we don't...
That's going to be for another time, guys, because we come to the end of the end.
Because we need to make sure that we finish Stacks at Memphis because I tell you what, when we actually deal with Chicago again, you think Curtis Smith is going to blow your mind? Curtis Mayfield is part of it, but there are other people. But anyhow, her name is Sylvia Robinson. She was the one who created Sugar Hill Gang, and she was the first lady to create the hip-hop revolution.
All right, pause. I'll leave
it right there.
Right there. That's a problem, man. Listen, guys, this is us on Affinity Xtra celebrating gospel music of black origin, also black history. And I want to thank you by playing Walter Hawkins' thank you track to end the note of the show. And we just had a great interview with Kevin Tomlin, and this is how we do on Affinity Xtra. Kevin, thanks again for sharing your knowledge.
Pleasure,
you know what I'm saying? You know,
and remember, we just touched the tip of the iceberg with our late Isaac Hayes.
And just remember, guys, if you want more information, buy the book. Icons of Memphis.
Buy the book is right here.
You know buy the book. Icons of Memphis.
Icons of Memphis
on Amazon.
And read about all the key movers and shakers that emerge out of that city.
Come on now.
The engineers, the arrangers, the rhythm sections, and so on.
Nah, 100%, guys.
Amen.
So listen, right? So we want to thank the Lord for taking care of us. Listen, man, I'm just like, let's just enjoy ourselves. Kevin, thanks for jumping in, man. I'm gonna turn you down and just enjoy the vibe of this track, brother.
Let's hear it.
Bless you, man.
Tragedies are commonplace. All kinds of diseases People are slipping away. Economy's down. People can't get enough pay. As for me, all I can say is thank you, Lord, for all you've done for me. Yeah. Folks without homes out in the streets, and the drug habits, some say they just can't be. Muggers and robbers, no place seems to be safe. But you've been my protection every step of the way. I wanna say thank you, Lord, for all you've done for me. Yeah. It could have been me. Outdoors, no food, no clothes. I'm just alone, without a friend. I'm just another number with a tragic end.
Hey, this is your Bishop from Rock Solid. Thank you so much for watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much for clicking and subscribing and also sending these videos to other people as well. We are so hungry to get your support. So remember, check us out on our website, and also check us out on Insta and wherever you want to find us on Spotify. You can play us all day as well. And just make sure that you are supporting this channel, that we are developing our agenda towards music of black origin, and that is gospel music with a message. So please walk with us on this journey. Bye now.